Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to I'm Floored. Thank you for joining us tonight. My name is Beth Allen. I am the founder of Hip Chicks, and if you're not familiar with it, the HIP stands for Home Improvement Project Chicks. I developed this business because I wanted to be a resource for women homeowners, but we always welcome the guys. I am married and have 3 children, all boys, so I believe that men and women need to come together and be strong homeowners. So welcome to the few guys that are on board tonight. And if you have any questions, there's a chat box. Questions will be submitted on the side, and either myself or Denise, my assistant, will address them. So let's get started with I'm Floored. I put this webinar together because I have so many questions asked of me about flooring. And flooring is a big expense that is often something that we save up our money for because we know it's an investment. So it's an investment in our home in terms of our comfort, our taste, and also in the resale value of our home. So we're going to address a number of key flooring options that just seem to be coming up more and more in questions that I'm asked. So we're going to talk about luxury vinyl plank, which is a hot product. We're going to talk about laminates. We're going to talk about hardwood, engineered and solids. And we're going to talk about good old carpet. So again, let me know if you have any questions, and we're going to dive right into our PowerPoint. Okay, I am floored. So we're going to focus again on the 4 most popular flooring options that tend to be kind of traditional yet hot at the same time. So we're going to talk about the laminate. Laminate was really popular about 10 years ago, and now it's starting to fade a little bit out of popularity, where the new hot product is the luxury vinyl plank or tiles. So solid hardwood and of course carpet. Now when we talk about carpet, we're going to talk about wall-to-wall, not area rugs. Now in the next upcoming Hip Chicks newsletter will be a buying guide with tips on how to plan your flooring purchase. So make sure that you read that next newsletter that comes to you. If you're not signed up for it, you will be added via this webinar. If you don't want to participate, you can always opt out, but there's some really useful information in that next newsletter. So let's talk about laminates. Laminates come in a wide variety of colors and styles. They can look very rustic. They can look textured. They can look very polished and finished. There are a lot of options on the table for the laminate. It is durable. It's fairly scratch resistant. You know, people like it when they have dogs because the nails don't scratch at them. Family friendly, can hold up to, you know, a bunch of kids running through the house. You can find laminate with an underlayment that is either attached or it can be laid down before you lay the laminate itself down. It is cheaper to install if you do hire a pro than say hardwood because it's less labor intensive, it goes down faster. And what I want you to understand about the laminate floor is that it is a floating floor. It is not glued, it is not nailed. It literally clicks together like a giant puzzle, lays on the floor, and your quarter round, that little bump of molding in front of your baseboard, or the baseboard itself, will keep it in place. So it's rather clever the way it's designed. Why laminates? They're very DIY friendly. It is very possible for homeowners to take on a laminate install themselves. You need some basic tools. You would need a jigsaw. You could use a miter saw, but a jigsaw is sufficient, which is pretty user-friendly. You can get a really nice wood look. Now, years ago, when laminate first hit the market, some of them were very plasticky looking because the middle of your laminate, as you see in the lower picture, is actually fiberboard. It is wood pulp. The top of it is like a plastic coating. And then the underside on the bottom photo is the cushioned underlayment that's attached. Now, you get so many new and better looks today. The laminates that were out 7 years ago versus today are really hard to tell the difference. Sometimes until you feel them with your hand or you tap your toe, you could tell whether it's solid wood or a laminate. Now, they are fairly fade resistant and fairly scratch resistant. Now, obviously, if you have a really big sunlit window and you've got an area rug, you may have fading over the years, but it does not fade as quickly as hardwood. Now, the cons of laminate: water damage. Laminate is the absolute worst product to put in an area that is water trafficked. So, not in your bathrooms, not necessarily even in a kitchen, not in a laundry room, not in a basement that is prone to flooding. The wood pulp will swell so quickly from water damage. So you have to be very careful that you do not have any prolonged water exposure. If you spill something, wipe it quickly. You cannot wet mop your laminate floors with a big sloppy mop all over, because if it gets into the seams and cracks, boom, you've got a swell. So that needs to be, the cleaning and the water exposure needs to be handled very carefully. It doesn't repair easily either. If you have a chip in hardwood, you can fill it in with wood filler, you can stain it. You really can't do that with laminate. Sometimes you can get away with actually taking a Sharpie or a Minwax touch-up pen, but it doesn't patch very easily. And lastly, some of the laminates can look very fake and plasticky. So you have to watch the lower price points. It can give you a nice look, but it will sound plasticky underfoot. And if you do touch it with your hands, you're going to know that it's not really a solid. So laminates are still a good choice, but again, I would prefer to see them in dry spaces in your house. So keep them to living rooms, dining rooms, perhaps family rooms, but not those wet areas in your space. Okay. Now, hardwoods. I love hardwood floors. A lot of people love hardwood flooring. Why? It is just beautiful. It is classic. It is a lasting investment. You will have a higher resale value when you have hardwood floors throughout. It matters. So it doesn't mean that every house has to have hardwood. I'm just saying it really takes it up a notch in terms of having real wood. Why? It is natural. It is not man-made. It's not a composite. It is natural wood. It has beauty. And the other thing that I love about hardwood floors is that they are refinishable. If you have an issue in a room, you have major stains or damage or spill, you can have it sanded, you can have it restained, you can change the colors, you can have it polyurethaned again. So keep that in mind, that hardwoods are a great investment, but they need a little bit of TLC. So let's review a couple types of hardwood. I just want you to understand that there's more than one type. So you see in the first photo in the middle, to the left of where it says types of hardwood, you will see a cross section. That is a solid plank. So that means it's 3/4 of an inch thick of solid wood. That plank can be refinished 50 times. Like, you can sand it, refinish it, sand it and refinish it. That's why it is a great investment, is because it can always be taken care of and repaired and refinished, revitalized. Now, the bottom piece is an engineered hardwood. The interesting thing about engineered hardwood is that it is real wood. It's just not a solid chunk. What they do is they take a piece of hardwood and they layer it, they crisscross it so that it is more moisture tolerant. And the way that happens is that the cross grains, when they get wet, they swell in different directions, so that engineered hardwood actually is more tolerant to moisture than a solid hardwood. So there's little pros and cons of each, but I want you to understand that both the engineered and the solid are real wood, unlike a laminate, which is a wood pulp with a plastic coating. Okay. widths. When it comes to installing those hardwood floors, there are many options. You can get a 2-inch. Many people have a traditional old hardwood flooring. You know, maybe your house is built in the 50s or the 60s, and you have the narrow, typically golden oak plank flooring. That can be redone absolutely beautifully. You can have it stripped, you could sand it, you could stain it a darker walnut, you can change the look entirely. But you will notice that you will find the 2-inch in older homes. The trend these days is to go for the wider plank. I love the wider plank, 1, for the look, but 2, if you are doing it yourself, as I did in my house recently, I'm telling you, it was awesome to have the wide plank because it's just less pieces of wood you're handling. So that makes it a little bit easier for the install to have wide pieces instead of narrow ones. Less seams as well for dirt and crumbs and moisture to get into, therefore it's more tolerant of spills. So in terms of styles for the hardwoods, you're going to find if you go shopping that there are a lot of very smooth finish out there, very smooth, very glossy. But there are also a new line called hand scraped, and these have a more rustic look. The large photo on the slide of the dark wood shows more of a hand scraped. It's kind of a more raw look. It's a bit rustic, but the beauty of that type of hand scraped floor is that you don't have to worry so much about little dings because it's already beat up a little bit. It has some dings and some knots and all of that. So it makes it a little more forgiving. Now, we recently put a hand scraped hardwood in our own home, and I'm not freaking out because if it does get a ding or a dent or a scratch, I can fill it in with a Minwax pen and it just adds more character to it. So you have to decide, do you want that real smooth, polished, beautifully finished look, or do you want the more rustic, kind of lived in, worn look? It's a little more forgiving. It's just a style choice. Now, when you think about hardwood floors, there are 2 options for installing. Like I said before, the laminate is a floating floor. It's not glued, it's not nailed. The hardwood is either glued or nailed, okay? So you have an option. You can glue it down, and it can be messy, it can be sticky and gooey, and you have to worry that you're getting glue on the surface of the wood, all of that. I chose, when we put ours down, to nail it down. So I have to be honest with you, I think I put 1,500 nails into my floors. No, what? 2,500. Went through 2 boxes of 1,000 nails plus extra. So it's no right or wrong choice. When you go to buy your floor, you can discuss the subfloor with the sales manager and determine what is the best option for you. But I knew I wanted to do the nail down. So people often ask, can you do your own hardwood? And yes. Is it a little bit labor intensive? Yes. It is not brain surgery. You can do it on your own. You just have to be able to physically commit to doing the work because it is laborious. We saved $5,000. $5,000 by installing our own hardwood. To me, that was worth every penny. That it took us a while, but I was happy we did. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. My assistant knows I hate technology when it doesn't cooperate. So I want to talk to you about hardwood hardiness. There is a scale called Janka testing, and it is a scale that tells you the hardness of all of the wood specimens. Now, for this schedule here, I did not list every wood that's available, okay? I listed the most common ones that we see in our area. Now, keep in mind, there are probably 30 different types of woods, counting Asia, South America, and all of that stuff. So I focused in on the North American woods that we will see commonly in stores. So keep in mind, we're going from the hardest to the softest. Brazilian cherry and Brazilian walnut, hickory, Maple and bamboo are kind of on the same level. White oak, ash, beech, red oak. A lot of people put red oak in their house and find that it's a little soft and it scratches and all of that, okay? Cherry and pine. Pine is the absolute softest of all the woods. So you need to keep that in mind when you're making your flooring purchases. Do you have a very active household? Do you have a dog that nails are going to be scratching regularly? Are you someone who just is hard on surfaces? You know, some people are shoes off the moment they walk in the door. They've got socks and they've got slippers. You have to just figure out what is the right floor for your family based on the traffic, okay? But this is a guide. When we made our purchase, we went with hickory. I've got a golden retriever, got 3 active kids. I didn't want to be constantly worried about scratches or scraping. So we went with hickory. You have to decide for you. But keep in mind, pine is not a really great choice on flooring. Now, cost of flooring. The laminates. The laminate cost could be, you know, anywhere from, I've seen it as low as 49 cents a square foot up to $6 for really realistic ones. For hardwood, you can get, you know, deals for $2 a square foot for that basic red oak. And you can spend up to $20 a square foot for really luxurious imported cherries and things like that. So again, you have to figure out what is your budget. And in that newsletter that's coming out, I go into a lot of detail on how to plan, how to measure, how to figure out what's the right flooring for you budget-wise, okay? Now, here are the pros and cons of hardwood. Pros, the resale value. Your home value will go up if you have hardwood flooring throughout. It is beautiful. It is just a beautiful, it's natural, it's real, it's nice. There's no chemicals involved. It's real wood. Now, granted, there is some stain or some sealer, but long-term, it is a real wood product that you're putting in your house. Like I said, you can change the color. You can sand it, strip it. You can make it darker, make it lighter. It's real wood. It's not going anywhere. It's real, it's natural. I find it's even quieter. Walking on hardwood is quieter than walking on a laminate because it doesn't have that plasticky click motion. And it is DIY doable. Now, if you're going to tackle a large area, it may not be ideal for the novice DIYer, but with some basic carpentry skills, you can very much do your own hardwood install. Now the cons, again, it is real. It is real wood. It can fade with extreme sun exposure. You can get water damage. If you have hardwood floors, you do need to be careful about your choices about putting it in bathrooms, kitchens, laundry areas. Now, I have told people about this for years, and yes, I made a crazy decision, and I did put hardwood throughout my entire first floor, including my kitchen, my powder room, and my laundry room. So that was a design choice that I made. I really wanted to have this floor throughout, but I've also taken precautions and added water alarms to the underside of my sinks so that if water would begin to leak, I would know. Have a water alarm also on my washing machine. So things that will alert me to avoid any spills or damage, okay? Termite, it's real wood. They can eat through it. So if you have a home that you have to worry about pests, that is something to consider. You can't really disinfect hardwood. You know, if you have tile or you have laminate or even vinyl, you can pour bleach right on it. You don't want to be pouring bleach on your hardwood. If there is a really germy spill, you could very quickly do a quick wipe, you know, with a Clorox wipe, but you don't want to be leaving harsh chemicals sitting on the hardwood. It will destroy the material itself. Scratches. It's wood. It will scratch. Minwax makes a fantastic little pen of stain. It's a Minwax stain pen. It is a great tool. You buy them in, they have like 6 different colors. Buy one closest to your floor color, and if you get scratches and dings, you can at least fill in so The dent itself from the scratch may remain, but you don't see the discoloration from the scratch. So get yourselves Minwax pens. The problem for the hardwood install is that the old floors must be ripped out. You cannot put this over any other flooring. So you're going to be taking your old floor down to the subfloor. So that can be a little bit laborious to do. So, okay. Let's see. Before we go on to that, I wanted to just pause for a moment and show you some of these other samples, you know, on camera. This is the laminate. Again, it has the pad glued right to the bottom, so it gives you a foam cushion on the bottom. This helps with noise, and it helps with just cushion, so it feels a little softer underfoot. Laminate floors would have to go over a wooden subfloor, or possibly over an old vinyl. Like if you had an old linoleum, you could put laminate over that. You can't really successfully put laminate over ceramic tile. You could, but I wouldn't advise it. It's just not what's recommended. Now, for hardwoods, again, here is the engineered wood. This one is very shiny. It's very smooth, very finished, very polished. And this is the floor that I put in my own home. Again, I chose it because it's got dings and knots and little divots in it, so that if I get more, it's not a big deal. So you have to choose which style you prefer. The engineered, a little more moisture tolerant, where the solid plank can be more easily damaged and warped based on water exposure. So think about that when you're making your choices on these two floors. Now, I do want to jump into the hottest flooring that's on the market. It is called luxury vinyl plank. I have installed many, many rooms of this. I've done it for clients, I've done it for relatives, and I even did it in my own house in our basement kitchen area recently. It is a hot product because it is a fabulous option. It's just a great product. So luxury vinyl plank and tiles. So you can buy them in planks for a wood look, or you can buy them in tiles for more of a ceramic tile look. And my VA, Denise, who's on here as well, I also put the LVP or LVT tiles in her house. And it gives you complete waterproofing. It is a click and lock technology. Just like these other floors are tongue and groove, the luxury vinyl plank is also tongue and groove. So when it clicks together, it gives you a nice solid seal and a seam that's not going to let water permeate. Okay? If it does get down in there, the beautiful thing is that it is completely vinyl, and it is so tolerant of water. If you had a major flood in your home and a major water spill, you could literally lift up your flooring like a giant jigsaw and then let the subfloor dry out and put the flooring back. That's an incredible option for a floor. So I want to point out these two planks before we dive into the slides, because 2 years ago I shot a pilot for my own reality show, and in that show I installed a LVP floor for the female homeowner, and she and her children helped, and that's how awesome this floor is. We had 2 teenage kids who'd never picked up tools, and the woman who'd never done this worked with me, and we got the floor done in a matter of hours. So the beautiful thing is, these 2 pieces of flooring, I cut them outside her house in the grass on a saw, because I wanted to be faster, so I was cutting them outside on a saw. See, the back is all muddy and sloppy. I left these pieces outside in the rain for 2 days in a monsoon, and they still, oops, look at me, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm not lining them up right. They still click together absolutely perfectly after sitting in the rain for 2 days and then sitting in a baking sun for 2 more days. So it's a fabulous option, these luxury vinyl planks. And they come in so many options in terms of colors and styles and patterns that you're bound to find something that works for your space. So, okay. let's see. Let's dive into the slides again. Let me find my share button. And we're going to talk all about the LVP and installing that in a bathroom, because I'm facing that issue at my mother's house. Some of you may be aware that my mother passed away recently, and we need to put her house up on the market, and we're going through the process of clearing it out. And we are faced with a very unpleasant bathroom floor. The floor that you see here on the right with the potty is my mother's bathroom. It is 1950s original tile. You can see that there are some spots that have been filled in with just a brown gray cement. So when, you know, my brother and sister and I were like, okay, it's time to deal with mom's house, my mother had wall-to-wall fuzzy carpet with a vinyl rubber backing. Now, I can tell you, carpet in a bathroom is not a good idea. It is not a good idea, but she did it because she knew, all these years that we've lived in the house, some 38 years, that she had these areas on the floor that were in bad shape. And she didn't have the resources to make a change because LVP wasn't around. But here's the beautiful thing. LVP, these luxury vinyl planks, can go right over ceramic tile. This is huge. If you've got an ugly bathroom floor or a kitchen or wherever, you do not have to rip up the floor. You can put LVP right over it. It is incredible time saver. So, when you are tackling a bathroom, keep in mind, you do need to remove the toilet. I would suggest you remove the vanity if your vanity has open feet at the bottom. So if you have open feet, you're going to want it to go all the way under. You're going to have to take the cabinet out to do that. If your cabinet goes flush all the way on 3 sides to the floor and against the back wall, then you can leave it. Unfortunately, you really should take the toilet out. I have seen a few people who have done a masterful job at cutting the pieces so that they click and lock right around the base of the toilet, and then they have caulked. But it is advised that you remove the toilet and do the floor and then replace the toilet. That's what I have always done. So let's talk about the pros of the luxury vinyl plank. It is DIY friendly. I have taught several people how to do this, and they were blown away by how easy this was to do. The water resistance, huge, huge water resistance. Like I told you, you could pick up the floor after a flood, let the subfloors dry out, and then put your floor back. It is pretty scratch resistant. Now, obviously, if you, dog nails will hold up, sliding some, lightweight furniture, everyday use, it's going to be pretty tolerant. If you have a big, heavy piece of furniture with metal feet, yeah, you can scratch it. So as with all of your flooring, make sure you've got fuzzy bumpers on the bottom. Make sure that you use the glides, the furniture glides when you're moving things. Or I love keeping scraps of old carpet around where you turn the carpet upside down and you put the furniture on the backing of the carpet and you slide the fuzzy part of the carpet across your floors. Best way to do it. LVP is affordable. It ranges anywhere from about $1.50 a square foot up to about $6 or $7 for real high-end, more exotic, interesting varieties. Family friendly, kid and pet durable. If you've got a dog that tends to tinkle, this is the floor. It's not going to swell if the dog pees on it and you don't get to it. It's just an incredible option. It can be mopped and disinfected. Again, you don't want to be pouring gobs of bleach on it, but you can put a bucket of warm water and Mr. Clean and disinfect your floors. And again, the beauty is it goes over other floors. In the small photo with the blue wall, you see that I had in my own basement sheet good called linoleum, right? I had sheet vinyl in our basement kitchen area. And over the last 20 years, we've had some scratches, we have some calcification, there's some stains, the old glue is showing through, and the floor really looks bad. So we decided to go with the LVP over that, and we got this for $2 a square foot. It looks great. It took us a few hours, and it really updated the room. We did not have to rip out the subfloor, which was great. Now, the cons. If you go for the lower price point, it can look and feel a little fake. It can have a plasticky look and feel if you go for the lower price. So, you know, if you want to put it throughout your whole main floor of your home, you may want to spend a little more and have it look more realistic. It can rip, tear, and dent, again, if you're not careful with large, heavy pieces of furniture. And it can fade under really high sun exposure. You know, it's more tolerant than natural wood in terms of fading, but it can show some wear with time. So keep that in mind. Other benefits of LVP. Like I said, it comes in planks for a wood look or tiles for a ceramic look. You can see here the tile look in the bathroom. We did remove the toilet. We removed the vanity. We replaced a new cabinet, actually. Here we put baseboards on after the floor went down, so that created a finished look. You can put the LVP up to your baseboards if you don't want to remove them or update them. There was the vinyl cove base, the vinyl baseboard. So we removed that and then put the nice traditional white wood. If you don't want to remove your baseboard, you can put quarter round, that little bump that sits in front, and that creates the finished edge to hide the edge of your floor. The other thing that is so great is the moisture tolerance. Not only will it tolerate a spill, but it is great for those rooms that are just damp all the time. Bathrooms, basements, laundry areas. So it's a fabulous option for those spaces where you wouldn't want to put a real wood or a wood that's going to swell and warp on you. Some of the LVPs can come very thin, like the one I showed you a few minutes ago. And some of the LVPs can come with a cork back. So the cork backing gives you noise reduction. It gives you a more cushion under your feet. So again, it is just a choice as to where you want it. If you have a slab floor, you have a slab family room floor or a slab cement basement floor, I would suggest you go with the cork backing because it gives you a little more cushion and a little more warmth in those rooms where you have nothing but cement under it. And here's the big winner for the LVP. You do not need to use scary cutting tools. You need an oscillating tool, AKA a Dremel, a Multimax, or a fine tool. And that helps. That's great for some tight little spaces where you need to make cuts. But as you see in the photo, this floor can be cut with nothing more than a utility knife. You score the LVP plank, you score it a few times with your razor blade, and then you turn it over and you snap it. And it's fantastic because it will allow you to skip the tools and you can get this floor laid very, very quickly. So I'm a huge fan of LVP, huge fan. Okay, now let's move on to carpet. Carpet is one of those products that has been around for years and it's not going anywhere. People still love carpet because it's soft under your feet when you wake up in the morning. It sucks up noise, and it just offers a cozy feel in a space that you don't get with the hard surface options. So what are the trends in carpet? The current trends are textured carpets, you know, that have maybe a pattern, not a colored pattern necessarily, but a tone-on-tone pattern within the same color fiber. A frisé. A frisé is a carpet that tends to have loops and strands. They kind of have flecks and they're multicolored, not multicolored, but kind of a semi-shag. Maybe, let's say it's a short shag, the frisé. And it's great because it can hide a lot of, you know, dirt and dog hair and foot traffic. So they're very popular. And then plush, the typical bedroom soft, plushy, fuzzy carpet. Now, I'm selling you this from the design component that Berber is out. Berber is not really popular anymore. So it was huge in the 90s. I know I had it in my house. Lots of people still do. I think people realize one of the problems with Berber is that it's very difficult to clean because the loops are so tight that when you spill stuff, you can't get it out. And even when you vacuum, the dirt lingers. Let's see, neutral colors. Please, when you are considering new carpet, you may love a particular color. You may want to go blue and green and all of that. If you plan on being in your home for many years and you're going to love that space, go for it. It's your home. It should speak to you. But if you're thinking resale, go neutral. That is the smartest choice you can make in terms of resale value for carpeting. Keep in mind, you know, it might show a little bit more or less dirt based on the shade that you pick, but that's where you will get your bang for your buck in terms of investment. Pros of carpet: it's warm, it's soft and comfy, and it's not as noisy. So the cons of carpet: stains. We've all been there, from pets to kids to red wine, from, you know, Aunt Susie that comes and spills. We've all been there and seen that. Wear. Carpet can show wear, especially on steps, especially right at entryways. You can have dust, dirt, and dander that collects. So it's tough for people with allergies because things just collect in there. And typically carpet is not a DIY project. I did actually replace carpet in my son's room. My husband and I did it together. It was not horrible. We ripped up the old carpet because it had a massive stain. We bought a carpet that was bigger than the room, so we did not have to do any seaming. We rented a knee kicker. It's a carpet stretcher. I think it was like a $30 rental tool, but it's very physical. It's a lot of pulling and stretching and twisting. So for some people, it's just not a great option because of the physicality of the work involved. So let's talk about some considerations when you're buying carpet. Let's consider this. Do you have pets and kids? Do you have, you know, an old dog that tends to tinkle? Are you looking to get a puppy at some point? Do you have kids that are very young and they're going to take, you know, a beating onto your carpets? These are things to consider when you are buying carpet. Color. Again, you know, it may be great to get a neutral but kind of flecked tone carpet that kind of hides a multitude of sins. And when it comes to color, people think that I am crazy. This photo in the middle with the diamond pattern and the plush, this is the carpet in my own house. This is my staircase. I have white carpeting up my staircase. I have 3 kids and a dog. Yes, I have white carpet, and people think I'm nuts. This carpet on my stairs is going on 5 years old, and I have to tell you that it's as white as the day it went down, and I'll tell you why in just a minute. Quality. We bought quality carpet, and when I say quality, I'm not saying that we had to spend a fortune on this carpet. I'm saying that we did the research to find a good, decent carpet that had stain resistance, wear warranties, and lifetime warranty in terms of various stains. The carpet that we put in our house is this, Mohawk Smart Strand. Mohawk does not pay me to promote them. I wish they would. I need to get to them, but I promote them because I absolutely love this carpet, and I want to see people buying a carpet that will meet their needs, that will last long, and will give them protection against wear and stains. The Mohawk Smart Strand, it is made from corn. It's a low VOC, so it doesn't have a lot of chemical emissions. It comes in various price points. You can get it for $1.99 a square foot up to $8.99 a square foot. You get the same warranty, you get the same stain resistance. It's just not as plush or squishy when you buy the lower price point. So if you are flipping a home, if you are selling a home, if you don't expect to be in your home that long, the Smart Strand is a fabulous option because it'll give you what you need without breaking your bank. The beautiful thing about the Smart Strand warranty is that it's transferable. So it stays with your carpet after you leave. Please check out this carpet. Again, we put this white carpet in my house, and 3 weeks after we put this carpet down, we have the white up the stairs in the pattern because the pattern carpet takes the wear better. It doesn't flatten down as quickly. So we have the pattern on the stairs and the plush in the hall and into the bedroom. So 3 weeks after the floor is down, I wake up to the sound of our now passed on golden retriever about to throw up. If you've had a dog or cat, you know that sound, and you go running. I went running. I threw my black bathrobe in front of the dog in the middle of the night, hoping she'd throw up on the bathrobe. She threw up on my white carpet. How did I deal with it? I'll tell you about the killer solution for that in just a minute. The warranty with Mohawk Smart Strand covers pee, poo, blood, wine, oh gosh, a whole list of stuff. They actually put this carpet in a rhinoceros cage at a zoo for a week and then steam cleaned it, and it came clean. Please consider this, folks. It's a fabulous carpet. Again, various price points for your home, for your budget, and it has incredible resale value. So check it out. All right, so let me move on to a few more tips here. I do believe that there was a question about squeaking floors. If you're about to change the flooring in a room, that's the time to handle the squeaks. That's when you get out the nails, screws, and you walk around and you find them. The reason you're having the squeaks is that the plywood subfloor, and you know that's going all the way across, and the joists, excuse me, underneath it, the 2x4s basically, that there's a little gap between them so that when you squeak or you step, there's a squeak. So you want to get out screws and you want to screw the subfloor back to the 2x4s, really they're 2x8s, underneath the floor. So you want to find the joists and then just secure the floor down. There are a couple gadgets out there. I can find them and I'll throw them out in the newsletter that allow you to do it through carpet with minimal disruption. So ideally, it's great to do it when you're changing floors, but there is a product that allows you to fix it while the carpet's down, and I'll send that out in the newsletter. Okay, let's see. I'm looking at a couple of the questions. Someone asked if that carpet can be cut for treads on stairs. I don't know that they can cut, well, I guess they can cut it for individual treads and have it bound all the way around. In my case, we had it cut as a runner and just the side edges were bound instead of individual tread pieces. I buy my flooring at Lomax Carpet and Tile Mart in Montgomeryville, and they do binding on the site. So let me just show you again. This is my white carpet. This is my Smart Strand, and this is a chunk of the stair carpet. You know, it's a diamond pattern. Again, it's textured, it's tone on tone, it's not different colors, so it's not patterned per se, but it's textured. And the steps was textured, and the top of the stairs, it's the same color carpet. So it looks like a uniform flow, but I have the plush upstairs. We didn't want the diamond pattern everywhere. So we have the plush in the hall and the bedroom, and the diamond for durability on the stairs, just to take more wear. It's always the lower steps where everybody's hitting that tends to show the most wear. So, okay. Yeah, Lomax does do tread cutting. Again, I don't know how much it'll cost, but I'm assuming that they can do it out of Smart Strand as well. So they do all the binding right there, which is nice. Okay, I want to pop back up to the slides because I want to point out a few cleaning techniques and then I'll let you guys go. So let me just hit some of the care points that I want to share with you. And let's see. Oh, all right. So here is my old girl, Sienna. Oops, let me pop back over. Here is Sienna. A couple highlights. And again, I'm going to send you guys all a PDF of cleaning and care tips for tile, laminate, hardwood, vinyl, and carpet. So you'll be getting that in an email tomorrow. So laminates, let's talk about them. You just want to sweep and Swiffer and vacuum often, okay? You just want to keep the dirt up so that it doesn't scratch and create grit on the floor. You want to avoid a very wet mop because it can get into the seams and swell. Damp mop is fine, okay? Don't go crazy with the Swiffer wet jet or a bucket of water. Limit the puddles. Don't use the mop and shine. You know, that the stuff that you put down and you're supposed to bring the shine back. It's not for laminates. Don't do that. You want to vacuum without the brush. So most vacuums give you a setting where you can do hardwood floors where it turns off the bristle brush so that it just sucks up stuff and doesn't spin. You don't want to have the spin mode on because then it just grinds the grit into your floors. So it should be on suction mode, not spin and suction. Hardwood floors. You want to sweep often and you want to use Bona. Bona is the go-to for hardwood floor cleaning, okay? Let's see, Bona with the terry cloth mop. Again, you want to use either a soft vacuum brush head. I have a Dyson and it has a hardwood head, so it's super soft. But again, you can use the vacuum mode, but not the bristle brush mode. No wax, no ammonia, no excessive water on your floors for hardwood. If you have a lot of bright, big windows, you may want to consider getting a UV filter on your big windows to help minimize fading. Keep that in mind. And avoid stilettos. You can put big old dents in hardwood floors with those heels, so be careful. Now, carpet. The biggest thing you can do to protect your carpet is vacuum, vacuum, vacuum. I cannot say that enough. You need to vacuum often, and you need to use a good vacuum. I know a lot of people will go and spend, you know, $50 at, you know, Walmart for, you know, just a cheapy little vacuum. Please, this is one of those things that you do want to save up some money and buy a good vacuum. Get a Dyson or an Orac or a Shark. For years, we have had a Kirby, okay? The better the vacuum, the better the suction, the longer your carpet will last because you're getting all of the dirt, dust, and dander out of the carpet fibers so that when there is a spill, it doesn't leave a stain and create mud. So vacuum, vacuum, vacuum. Try not to wear shoes indoors. Really, that will save all of your flooring. Some people are for it, some people aren't, but it will protect your floors, less dirt, less germs, less grime digging into your fibers. When you have a spill for your carpets, blot, don't rub. You can use seltzer or cold water to blot. Do not use hot water on carpet. You can mess up the fibers if you're putting too hot on a certain spot and not in a larger area. Now, you see my sweet old puppy. She passed in October, but Sienna's sitting there with a little green by Bissell. This Bissell tool is what took out the stain from her throwing up that night. The Bissell is a little tiny steam machine. It is fantastic. It cleans your carpets. It will get up all of those stains immediately and you'll have longer wear. So I use the Bissell steam clean, no shampoo. A lot of people don't get me when I say this. Do not shampoo your carpets. You can steam clean them, but do not buy the big jug of soap. Every time you put soap or shampoo on your carpets, it leaves a residue behind that breaks down the carpet fibers and attracts more dirt. Do not use the shampoo, okay? You want to spot treat your floors with Capture. Capture is a fabulous product. We are going to be sending you a shopping list as well of all of these products that I love through Amazon. So if you can't find them, you'll see them, and there's pictures so you can go shopping and get what you need. With your vacuum, make sure you're changing that bag often so that you're getting maximum suction out of your vacuum. Now, I have to show you the little electrostatic sweeper on the bottom right. Found that in Mom's house in the closet. This is not an acceptable vacuum, so it's great for the, just had a little party and you're picking up some crumbs, but make sure you buy a good vacuum. Now, with the new luxury vinyl plank, you want to make sure you're sweeping. You can use a mild detergent. You could use a little bit of Mr. Clean in a bucket. You want to be careful if there are any cracks in seams or anything so water doesn't get underneath. But no abrasives, and again, no mop and shine. You don't want to wear down the floors that way. And my last slide is this one. It is time for vinyl. I am going to be offering a step-by-step hands-on class in Philly area next week on how to install the luxury vinyl floors. The class will be Thursday, July 25th in the evening, and it will be held in Montgomeryville, Pennsylvania. We'll be sending all of this info out for you with registration links. But for you folks that are not in the area, I'm going to be doing a step-by-step online class in August. I'm going to walk you through how to plan, how to measure, how to make your selection in terms of design. We're also then going to talk about what you do to get the toilet out, what you do about the vanity, what you do about the baseboard and or the quarter round, how you're going to finish that floor around the edges. We're going to talk about what to do with the edges, you know, how do you get around the edges, okay, so that you get a nice professional look. Baseboards, radiators, all that kind of stuff. We're going to talk about the tools that you need. I mentioned that you primarily need a utility knife, but if you go for the LVP that's got the cork backing, you will need to use a power tool. Again, a jigsaw will work. So we're going to review all of that as well. Both of these classes are only $37. So you give me 2 hours for $37, and I'm going to walk you through how to do this floor. My assistant has just put the sign-up links in the chat box, so you can find them there. And again, one class will be in person. There is limited seating. I only have room for 20, but that will be in the Lomax Carpet and Tile Mart. It'll be in the store, so we'll have access to lots of flooring options so we can play and see everything hands-on. And the online class, we're going to be using footage from that class so you can see up close how I did everything. And I have footage from other projects that I've done that will also be part of the online class. So I would so love to see you guys join me live next week in Montgomeryville. Again, it's going to be hands-on. I'm bringing some tools. We'll practice cutting and scoring and snapping the floorboards. I'm going to be bringing a Ryobi oscillating tool. I'll show you how you can cut it with a hand tool, or power tool, I'm sorry. And I'm going to bring a sample board, like a room, like a piece of plywood and an edge, and we're going to talk about how you get into the corners and snap it and lock it all down. So please join me for either the in-person or the online, and I think you're going to be shocked at how doable this project is. And it's something that, you know, it might take you 2 weekends or 3 weekends to do, but it is doable, and it will save you a ton of money. So I hope to see you either place, and thanks again for joining me tonight. I hope you learned a lot. We will be sending you a floor care guide. We will be sending you a shopping list, and also sending you links to sign up for the classes if you didn't catch them on the chat box. So thank you very much, and I hope that you learned a lot this evening, and thanks for joining us.